Today ACFI has become a major force, representative of the industry, be it the government bodies, be it every trade, that wanted to get some advice from any organization. As an airline, I'm excited because a lot of these, the changes to the policy are people coming and investing money to set up free trade zones or AFS will lead to more cargo being generated out of the country, which is good for the airlines, right? We will be able to fill our bellies very effectively, which is very positive. But then what I have seen is, from the express companies, if you talk to them, they use about 10% of their volumes, which is premium, right, where they need to deliver in 24 hours time or on the same day as they commit. Those invariably use air cargo, right? And that the entire e-commerce is growing, right? So the 10% of that is also growing exponentially. So that's where the opportunity is.
Hi, this is Libin Chakapurian from Stat Media Group. We are here in New Delhi right now for ACFI Annual Conclave 2023. With me right now is Mr. Ramesh Mamidala. He is a secretary of ACFI and he is also the head cargo commercial at Air India. Ramesh, thank you so much for joining us today. What makes you excited about ACFI, the Air Cargo Forum India?
Good evening. Thanks for this opportunity. And, it actually takes us back to 2012, right? When I came back from Dubai to work with Delhi Airport. Some of us, when we got together to see, which is that forum, which is that organization which can successfully push the interest of the entire air cargo industry, either with the government or with the trade bodies. We couldn't really find anybody that is kind of representing the integrated interest of the industry. We had, even still, even today, we have organizations that kind of represent different sectors or different parts of the supply chain, but there was nothing that actually represented the entire supply chain as one entity. So we thought that ACFI, an organization like ACFI, should take birth. So some of us actually got together and then we kind of thought of an organization. That's how the ACFI actually was born back in 2012, April, May. Recently we celebrated 10 years. I think, if every sector represents on its own, that would not lead to the collective growth of the industry, right? So it has to be a collective approach, integrated approach. So ACFI's objective is actually to represent everybody in the industry, represent collective interest, represent and push the policy and advocacy changes that are required, lead to the growth of the industry as an integrated approach. So that was the objective. So it is very exciting that what we started back in 2012 is now 10 years old. It's like actually seeing a child growing and becoming an adult. So that is what is happening today. Today, ACFI has become a major force, representative of the industry, be it the government bodies, be it every trade, that wanted to get some advice from any organization. So it grew to become very, very important, very significant body in the industry in India. So we're representing India alone. So a lot of international bodies like TIACA, for example, also recognized ACFI as an organization that they want to partner with to see how they can actually push their own interest in the country. This is very exciting. Last 10 years have been very exciting. I've been very closely associated with the ACFI since its beginning, and it has taken good shape. It has grown to become a major body, major institute in the company. A lot more to be done. We have done a lot more can be done for the industry.
Can you let us know what is happening in ACFI right now? For example, what are the kind of policy advocacies that you are right now having with the government or other trade organizations?
Over the last decade, we had many work groups that worked on several process improvement initiatives. So as part of the process improvement initiative, we found many policies that had to be changed, be it security related, be it customs related. Some of them are related to even the airport related or CASF, local CASF, security related stuff. So a lot of these things were actually identified. ACFI as an organization, along with other trade bodies, relevant trade bodies as well, we managed to represent the interest and we actually managed to change many policies. There are many, many examples, we don't have enough time to talk about all of them, but many policy changes will happen. And that is still not enough, right? So we still have a lot of roadblocks that are in the way of growth of the industry. And we talk about 10 million tons, so I'm sure everybody's talking about it. Many of them are related to, again, security, because security regulations keep changing, right? So, and we would like to progress. Earlier, we were only interested in actually point OD kind of a traffic, we were not really looking at transit as a major opportunity for the country. Now, trans-shipment is a big opportunity, both for airlines as well as the other stakeholders such as airports, in the country. And so the entire policy related to managing trans-shipment in the country need to change. That includes both security as well as customs related regulations. So that's one thing that we would like to push very actively. But that is what very successfully can contribute to the growth of air cargo volumes in the country, right? And one big thing is, standardization of processes. When you go through the airports, you realize every airport is actually running the cargo terminals their own way, right? So, and the second thing we actually realized that, there are no service standards that are uniform across the country. And the regulatory policies are also not very uniform. So there are many gaps. So these were actually identified by us. We made a lot of recommendations as ACFI. Many of them actually have got into the National Air Cargo Policy that was issued as a guideline in 2018, which is yet to become a policy. A lot of them actually found place there. So one of the things that we would like to work with the government, MOCA, is to ensure that what was identified and captured well, National Air Cargo Policy draft document, becomes a reality that gets converted into an action plan with timelines, and we start actually executing all of them. So that is still pending. We would like to push it to make it happen.
Okay, that's great. You mentioned the 10 million tons target and the trans-shipment opportunity, for example. One of the policy advocacy that ACFI does is looking into the trans-shipment cargo issues like the clearance issues or the screening issues, for example. What I would like to know is, how is government responding to some of your advocacies?
One is government also looks at that as an opportunity. They are keen to work with us, to work with everybody, actually, airports and airlines. Also with the bodies such as ACFI to change it. Now, I know we are a democracy, right? So we can't unilaterally change everything overnight. It takes time because we need to also take the interest of the country. Security obviously is very important, so we cannot go against it. So I think the balancing obviously is taking time. So government is very, very receptive in all the meetings that we have had with them. So they listen to us, especially MOCA has worked very actively with all the other regulatory bodies such as Customs, Ministry of Home Affairs, so on and so forth. And now, in fact, we're at a stage where we've kind of worked out the SOPs needed for different versions of transshipment. Unlike other countries, we have different versions. We have D2D, I2D, D2I, I2I. So all of them need to be treated differently. So as a result of the SOPs that we presented to the ministry, one thing that happened is the D2D SOP that we drafted to be implemented in the country, that was actually published as a policy by the government, and we are experimenting with it. All the airports are actually experimenting, and we have given feedback as to what changes are required. My guess is once D2D, this is all being facilitated by the government itself, right? So they're actually facilitating and spearheading the change. Once that is kind of done with, I'm sure they will start looking at the policy changes required for the other versions of the transshipment. So there is a lot of response, a lot of support that we receive. Only thing is, it is taking time. One would have liked this to happen very, very quickly. Coming from the airline, I would have liked this to have happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So now I'm kind of hopeful that it will happen very quickly now, in this year itself.
On the same line, one of the other things that ACFI is pushing for is the free trade zones, for example. It was very recently that India got its first air freight station, for example. So how you think the free trade zones could change the scenario?
No, it will change. Air freight station, there is already a policy, and there are many companies that are looking at it favorably. As an airline, I'm excited because a lot of these, the changes to the policy are people coming and investing money to set up free trade zones or AFS will lead to more cargo being generated out of the country, which is good for the airlines, right? We will be able to fill our bellies very effectively, which is very positive. On the free trade zone, if you look at what happened to the mature countries that are very successful in air cargo, countries around us, so that have managed to establish large hubs, right? So they have actually benefited. If you look at their history, they have benefited from establishing the free trade zones within the airport itself, right? Many examples. Dubai is an example. Dubai has an airport free zone. The way it happens is some of these free zones will facilitate a lot of re-export of cargo, right? So if my numbers are right, a place like Dubai would possibly get about 15 or 18% of the exports are re-exports. So stuff coming into the free zone through the cargo terminal of the airport, getting processed, getting relabeled, re-labeled, and then re-exported out of the country. So we have those kind of opportunities that would happen, which currently don't exist because we don't have the policies, the space, facilities, infrastructure supporting it. So one of the direct advantage of this is this. But then it would also generate other opportunities, right? So a lot of value-added services can come in. A little bit of manufacturing that has to happen very quickly can happen. There are examples that you can actually see in the free trade zone in Dubai itself. For example, there is one manufacturing company that is into repair of in-flight entertainment systems, right? So these things, when they go wrong, they need to be repaired quickly and then sent back. So they can come to the airport in few hours. When they arrive, they are in the workshop because the free trade zone is attached to the airport. They get repaired in few minutes time, then they're on board to be dispatched. So that's a kind of speed that is facilitated by the free trade zone. So a lot of these small, quick, value-added services can happen in the free trade zone. It all leads to more cargo, now more aviation as well. So it is beneficial. I'm very optimistic. If it happens, it would lead to more cargo to all the entire stakeholder community.
I also want to know how you look at the domestic cargo opportunity. We had one panel discussion right now at the ACFI Annual Conclave. But most of the policy advocacies that ACFI has is, focusing on the international cargo. So, but one of the policy advocacy that I could see is the promotion of the multimodal, movement of cargo through the airports. Okay, that's what ACFI is pushing for. Can you give me an idea, both from the ACFI side and you are also heard a cargo commercial for Air India? What is the opportunity lying there at the domestic cargo movement?
I think opportunity is very big. All of us know that very well. It's the domestic cargo, because of e-commerce penetration into the country, is growing very, very rapidly. I think the growth is expected to be anywhere from 20 to 25% year on year if everything goes well. Not all of that is going to come to air cargo, for sure, because we have surface transportation which is improving day by day, right? We have roads coming in, we have better train facilities coming in. So a lot of that will also be taken by them. But then what I have seen is, from the express companies, if you talk to them, they use about 10% of their volumes, which is premium, right, where they need to deliver in 24 hours time or on the same day as they commit. Those invariably use air cargo, right? And that the entire e-commerce is growing, right? So the 10% of that is also growing exponentially. So that's where the opportunity is. The opportunity to me in future will be the tier 2, tier 3 cities. Currently, it's possibly up to have, major metros. So every e-commerce company, they have possibly set up the warehouses, fulfillment centers in few locations. And if there is an urgent shipment that need to be delivered in 24 hours time, only way is actually they have to use air cargo wherever they need to reach, even if it is air through. So those shipments necessarily have to fly by air, right? So that segment is growing. The challenges in terms of policy advocacy and infrastructure, my guess is the challenge is more on the infrastructure side. Because we know, as an airline also, I see a lot of challenges in terms of processing domestic cargo in tier 2, tier 3 cities. Tier 1, I think, is well in place now. But tier 2, tier 3, we still have challenges. I think that needs to improve. Now, that will change. The policy advocacy that we need there is, we need to improve the infrastructure in terms of standards, right? So again, go back to the standards in terms of development of infrastructure, service standards. We have no regulatory agencies there. I think the definitions are pretty clear. Most of the metro cities actually process those shipments in 90 minutes time, right? Arrival into the terminal and departure within 90 minutes. If something is arriving, we process and deliver in 90 minutes to 120 minutes. These are fantastic service standards, actually. So those well in place in the tier 1 cities. Tier 2, tier 3, infrastructure, service levels, and the standards for the processes, those are required.
Ramesh, as the Secretary of ACFI, what we can expect from Air Cargo Forum India in the next 1 year? For example, when we come back for the next annual conclave, what could be, new in ACFI, or what we're trying to achieve in next 1 year, let's say?
The team that is managing ACFI, as you possibly found in the morning, very energetic, very ambitious. We already have initiated a lot of ambitious projects. There are many work groups that Yash or Sanjeev talked about in the morning. So many of them are actually working very actively, whether it is digital automation, process orientation, policy advocacy, many other things. There are 6-7 work groups that work actively, and they're making very good progress. So my guess is in about a year from now, many of them will possibly end up even implementing the recommendations. Not just recommend something, but work with the government. Sometimes the government is not involved. It is just the industry stakeholders, they need to implement something on their own. They will get implemented. We'll possibly also contribute to this growth. The 3.1 million tons that we have seen today may become 4 million tons in about a year. So a lot of that will also be facilitated by the policy changes that we recommend, and also we make it happen. So we will directly, indirectly contribute to the growth, and very quickly contribute to elimination of all the roadblocks.
Thank you so much, Ramesh, for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.